The woman of the Silver Valleys. The moons hung low over the Silver Valleys, turning the world into a shifting dream of pale mist and glowing grasses. Lyra kept her cloak wrapped tightly around her body as she walked. No, fled, down the narrow path. Her arms ached from holding the two tiny bundles pressed against her chest, but she didn't dare loosen her grip. Every whisper in the wind made her blood run cold. The twins slept fitfully, small hands twitching under soft layers of woven auric cloth. They were barely 3 weeks old, helpless, fragile, and priceless. Not because they were royalty, not because they were rare, but because they were hers. Lyra pulled her hood deeper. Her breath puffed in silver clouds. She whispered soothingly to her babies, "Just a little farther, little stars. Just a little more." The forested cliffs around her moaned as the night winds swept between stone pillars. Lyra's long lavender skin glowed faintly in the moonlight, her pale white hair blowing like silk behind her. Her eyes, emerald, luminescent, watched every shadow with the terror of a mother who knew she was being hunted. The Varrock had returned. Beasts older than her people's oldest myths. Beasts that moved like liquid shadow, hunting soundlessly, smelling fear like perfume. And she, exhausted and alone, carried 2 newborns. She squeezed them close. "I won't let anything take you," she whispered, though her voice trembled with doubt. Her village had fallen hours earlier. She had fought her way out through smoke, screaming winds, collapsing beams. She ran without stopping. Her legs burned. Her heartbeat thundered. Then she heard it. A low, wet growl. Too close. She froze. Her twin babies whimpered softly. "No, no, please," she begged the night. Branches snapped behind her. The forest fell silent. And then the darkness moved. To the human in the wrong world. Miles away, unaware of the nightmare he was walking toward, Ethan Hale rubbed the throbbing bruise on his head and cursed softly at whatever malfunction had thrown him out of hypersleep and dumped him, literally, onto a foreign world. He was lost, exhausted, and had no idea where his ship had crashed. What he did have was a fractured emergency beacon, a half-charged flashlight, and the stubbornness of a man who had survived worse things than the wilderness. The trees around him glowed faintly with bioluminescent veins, and insect-like lights drifted lazily in the air. Beautiful, peaceful, until the scream tore through the night. A woman's scream. No, several screams at once. Like a single voice layered in terror. Ethan froze. What the hell was that? Another cry echoed, this one ragged, desperate. A second sound followed. A snarl. Deep. Predatory. Ethan didn't even think. He ran toward it. Branches whipped his arms, stones slid under his boots, and his lungs burned. But he pushed harder. That scream, he'd heard something like that before. Back on Earth, when a mother fought for her child. He burst out of the brush just as the moonlight revealed a scene that punched the breath out of him. 3. The first encounter. A woman, alien, luminous, terrified, clutched 2 infants to her chest. Her back was against a stone outcrop. 3 monstrous creatures circled her. They stood on 6 limbs, their skin shifting like oil. Their eyes glowed faint orange. Their jaws opened sideways, revealing rings of serrated teeth. One lunged. Ethan didn't have a weapon. He didn't have armor. He had only adrenaline, instinct, and the raw stupidity of humans who refused to let others die in front of them. "H-E-Y," he roared, scooping up a fallen branch thicker than his arm. "Over here, ugly." All 3 creatures snapped their heads toward him. Lyra gasped. A strange figure, tall, broad-shouldered, wrapped in damaged gray survival gear, had appeared between her and the beasts. A human. A species she had only heard of in old star legends. "What are you doing?" she cried out. "Run." "Not happening," Ethan shouted back. The first creature lunged again. At him this time. Ethan swung the branch with every ounce of strength he had. It cracked loudly against the creature's skull. The beast staggered, screeching. Lyra stared, stunned. The story said humans were small, fragile, unremarkable. This one looked like a storm given shape. Ethan planted himself in front of her. "Get behind me." She blinked. I have infants." "Exactly. So stay back and keep them safe." He had no idea how he was going to survive this. But he didn't back down. Humans rarely did. 4. Teeth, shadows, and desperation. The largest Varrock pounced first. Ethan dodged barely in time, feeling the rush of air as claws slashed past him. His branch smashed across its ribs. The creature shrieked and rolled, but two more surged forward. Ethan shoved Lyra gently. Go. Move. She scrambled backward, holding her babies tight, her heart pounding painfully. The creature circled again. Ethan grabbed a fist-sized rock and hurled it with surprising accuracy. It hit a Varric's eye with a wet pop. The monster thrashed, but the remaining two charged. Ethan braced. A flash of green light burst beside him. Lyra, with one hand holding both infants, aimed a small crystalline shard with the other. Energy shot out, striking a creature square in the chest. It stumbled, then collapsed. Ethan stared. You could shoot the whole time? Her voice shook. The shard only holds 3 charges, and now only 1. Then let's not waste it. The last creature leaped. Ethan dove, tackling it midair. It was heavier than he expected, its skin slick and cold. He struggled as claws slashed his arm. Pain exploded along his side. Ethan. Lyra screamed his name, without ever having been told it. He gritted his teeth and slammed its head repeatedly into the ground until it went limp. Ethan staggered back, blood dripping from his arm, chest heaving. Lyra rushed forward, clutching her babies and looking him over. You're injured. I've had worse, he managed. Are you okay? Are the little ones okay? They're safe, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Because of you. His knees nearly buckled, not from injury but from relief. That's good, he said. Now maybe we should get the hell out of here before more show up. Lyra nodded vigorously, but when she tried to walk, her legs wobbled. She had pushed herself beyond exhaustion. Ethan stepped forward. Here, give one to me. Her eyes widened. Alien culture was protective to a fault, and handing her infant to a stranger, let alone an off-world species, was unthinkable. But tonight had already broken all rules. She studied his eyes. Human eyes. Determined. Honest. She slowly placed one of her sleeping twins into his arms. Ethan held the tiny alien baby as if holding the universe's most delicate treasure. Let's go, he whispered. Together, bleeding, exhausted, terrified, and carrying 2 newborn lives, they walked into the dark forest. The long night. They traveled for hours. Lyra gave Ethan directions, guiding him toward a hidden cavern network where the Varrock rarely hunted. The baby he held slept peacefully, warm and weightless. Every few minutes he glanced at the infant's small glowing freckles, marveling. You're good with her, Lyra said softly. Her. Ethan blinked. She's a girl? Yes. Both are girls. Well, he whispered, your daughters are beautiful. Lyra's breath caught. Thank you. She hesitated. What is your name? Ethan Hale. I am Lyra Vale. The babies stirred, tiny sounds humming in their throats. Ethan cleared his throat. So, why were those things attacking your village? Lyra looked away, pain shadowing her face. The Varrock hibernate deep beneath the mountain roots. Something woke them. Something disturbed the old grounds. We were not prepared. She swallowed tightly. My mate, my brother, many others, they didn't escape. Ethan slowed. Lyra, I'm sorry. She blinked rapidly, blinking away tears. I cannot mourn yet. I must keep the twins alive. They are all I have left. Ethan adjusted the baby in his arms. Then we'll protect them. All 3 of you. We, she echoed. Yeah. He flashed a tired smile. Apparently, I work here now. Despite everything, Lyra almost laughed. Almost. 6, shelter of stone and fire. By the time they reached the caverns, dawn's pale light was creeping along the horizon. The cavern was cold, but defensible. Ethan gathered stones, branches, and strange dry moss-like material that burned with a soft blue flame. Lyra wrapped the babies in layered oilcloths and laid them gently in a shallow groove in the rock that formed a cradle-like basin. Ethan worked silently, but he kept glancing at Lyra, at the way she touched her children's foreheads, the way fear still trembled in her hands. Finally, he approached her with a strip of cloth torn from his sleeve. Let me see your shoulder. She started. My shoulder? But your arm. I'll handle mine later, he insisted. You're shaking. She hesitated, then allowed him to check her injuries. He cleaned a shallow cut near her collarbone using filtered water from his survival pack. Lyra watched him with wide, curious eyes. You are very gentle, she murmured. Most humans are, he said. contrary to popular interstellar myths. She tilted her head. Are there many humans? A few billion. Her eyes widened. Billions. What about your people? He asked. Before last night, 40,000. Ethan's voice softened. I'm sorry, Lyra. She blinked hard again. You saved the only ones that mattered. Silence settled between them. Comforting, fragile, warm. 7. A mother's confession. As the fire glowed softly, the twins began to shift restlessly. Lyra scooped them up one at a time, feeding them a thick nectar-like milk from a crystallized flask. Ethan watched, fascinated. You love them a lot, he said quietly. They are my soul, Lyra whispered. Twins are rare among my people. It was a blessing, a miracle. Her voice dropped. Sometimes miracles bring danger. What do you mean? She hesitated. The Varrock, they were drawn not just by hunger. They sensed something in the infants. Some energy they carry. I do not yet understand it. Ethan frowned. So, they were hunting your babies specifically? Lyra held the sleeping infants closer. Yes. Ethan's jaw tightened. Then we'll make sure nothing ever gets close to them again. She asked again, voice quieter this time. He nodded. A slow warmth filled her chest. 8 noon shadows. They rested half the day. Ethan slept briefly, waking every time a pebble shifted or the wind changed pitch. Lyra watched him sleep. He looked tired. Strong. Human in ways the universe rarely understood. She touched his jacket lightly. A silent thank you. When he woke, he found her staring. Oh, Ethan said, sitting up quickly. Sorry. Did I snore? A little, she admitted. He groaned. Great. First impression ruined. No, she whispered. Not ruined. She looked away shyly. A strange quiet grew between them, soft, unspoken, full of something she wasn't ready to name. 9. A new threat. By late afternoon, distant howls echoed. Ethan tensed. They found our trail. Lyra stood quickly, clutching both babies. We must move again. He nodded. I'll take one. She handed him the smaller twin, Aaron, while she held the older, Seeli. They left the cavern. But the forest was awake now. Branches quivered. Shadows rippled. Then, a massive Varrock Alpha emerged from the mist, twice as large as the ones before, its eyes burning like molten iron. Ethan whispered, Lyra, run. No, she said softly. We run together. The Alpha lunged. Ethan shielded the baby in his arms, twisting. Lyra fired her last shard charge. Green light exploded across the creature's face, but it only enraged it. Ethan yelled, Go. I'll distract it. You will die. Not if you move now. The Alpha roared, and the forest itself seemed to answer. X, the final stand. Ethan shoved Aaron into Lyra's arms. Before she could protest, he grabbed a broken spear-like branch and charged the Alpha. Humans were insane. Completely, beautifully insane. But it was the kind of insanity that saved lives. Lyra ran, clutching both babies to her chest. Tears burned her eyes. Every instinct screamed to go back, to fight beside him. But she had to protect the twins. Behind her, Ethan fought with everything he had. The Alpha slammed him into a tree. Pain shot up his spine. He stabbed the branch into its neck. It snapped like twigs against metal. But he kept fighting. Punching, kicking, dodging, bleeding, until he heard Lyra scream his name, and realized she had stopped running. She stood behind him, shaking, but determined. I will not leave you. The Alpha lunged. Ethan threw himself in front of her. But at the last second, a new sound thundered through the valley. A piercing, crystalline wail. The twins. Both babies cried at once. High, harmonic, otherworldly. The air vibrated. Light burst from them, soft, radiant, shimmering. The Alpha screeched in agony and collapsed, writhing as if the sound tore through its very bones. And then, it died. Silence fell. Lyra stared at her daughters, trembling. What power is this? Ethan gasped for breath. Whatever it is, it saved us. 11. A new beginning. They walked until nightfall. By dawn, they reached the high ridge where Lyra's surviving people had fled. A small encampment of frightened families emerged from the fog. Gasps echoed. A human? A warrior? No, look, Lyra's twins. They're alive. Lyra turned to Ethan. Her green eyes shimmered. You saved us. You saved them. My people owe you our lives. Ethan shook his head. Just doing what anyone should. Not anyone, she whispered. Just you. She stepped closer. Her hand touched his chest, soft, grateful. Ethan, don't leave yet. He looked at the twins, sleeping peacefully. He looked at her. And he knew. I'm not going anywhere, he said. Lyra's eyes softened. And for the first time since her world fell apart, she smiled.